BooTube. So, interesting factoid. My video, which was supposed to be only one video for Supergirl Season 3, Episode 3, titled Far From the Tree, was supposed to be only one video. But then the first time, it cut me off. So I ended up doing a part 2, and part 2 got interrupted by a phone call. So now there's a part 3. So anyway, if I remember correctly, I left off with the whole Maggie's father pretty much storming out of her engagement party. Because apparently he did not like Maggie flaunting her sexuality like that. And I did explain in the previous video, like, how it kind of touched a little bit of home, mainly because I do have 3 cousins that are homosexual. And I'm damn proud of them. Because it takes a lot of bravery to, you know, accept it. You know how Alex, in the beginning, she was in partial denial of it? She felt like she was ashamed of it in a way, almost like she was ashamed. And she was so scared to come out to her entire family. And so, I knew that from experience, mainly because I did have family members. Like I said, I do have 3 homosexual family members, and if I remember correctly, one for sure had trouble opening up her sexuality to her family, even though I was so effing proud of her. I was like, you know what, you can't help who you love. Rock on to you. I will support you 100%. So hearing the father, Maggie's father, be such an ass about it, like, she's your only child. How can you disown your only child only because she prefers women over men? Granted, you know, that's not how you were raised and all that stuff, and you've seen the world, you've seen how they treat homosexuals the same way they treat Mexicanos, like he said, but it's like, the world is evolving. Evolve with it. You know what I mean? But anyway, it was highly emotional. I effing cried. Like, when I saw that scene for the first time, I was, like, in tears. And it was just Supergirl right now, hitting the fields with some very, specific topics. Because, you know, these topics today, even when it comes to, like, either government or even topics like this, like homosexuality, and even, like, what Maggie's father was talking about, how people didn't like Mexicanos. And how they think about Mexicanos. That's a lot of topics that are going on today, that have been going on for a while. And, you know, racism and homophobia, it's there. And I'm very proud of the writers of Supergirl for actually touching on this subject and seeing that it's there. It is a problem. Homophobia and racism. And the actors who played both Maggie and her father respectively, they did an amazing job. I literally was brought to tears by that performance. And of course, the actor who plays Jean's father, Myron, did a beautiful performance with the actor who plays Jean, with the whole father-son dynamic. I thought that was really beautiful. I literally was brought to tears by both relationships, both parent and child relationships, one being beautiful reunion, the other being just horrible, horrible, heartbreaking reunion. It's just, it sucks, because he basically told Maggie to her face that he will never truly accept her because she's a lesbian. And it's like, then why did you show up? If you're never going to accept her, why did you show up? I mean, come on, right? But anyway, back to Jean and the White Martians, the funny part was Myron told the White Martians, Jean and Kara, you know, where the staff is and everything. And there were some bad White Martians that were there already. And Kara ended up being a distraction, while, of course, the White Martians, Magan and Jean, even Myron showed up. But the funny part was Kara being the distraction. She literally showed up in that little Mars spaceship, the one that's disguised as a 60s car. She drove up to them, blasting Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again. To distract them. I thought that was funny as hell. And during the whole fight thing, there was one moment where Kara punched the hell out of a White Martian, and one of you know it wasn't me? One of the rebellion guys, the good guys, was like, how'd you know that wasn't me? And she's like, I didn't. And I was like, that's funny. You could have kicked the good guy's ass. And you don't even, wow, Kara, that's a risk right there. But that whole Britney Spears thing was freaking hilarious, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like, we get two heartfelt moments here from, you know, good and bad, heartfelt, heart-wrenching moments. But we got a little bit of humor in here, which I loved. Anyway, the cool part was that, you know, they gave the staff to Magan and the little rebellion of White Martians, but they basically gave the staff back to Ja'an and Kara and said, hey, we've seen what this weapon can do, because Kara did use it against the bad White Martians. And he was like, you know what? This thing's too dangerous to have here. What if the other bad White Martians show up and take it? Take it with you, bring it to Earth. The White Martians can't get to it there, right? And there was also the topic with Kara and Ja'an. They're like, what are they going to do with Ja'an's father, right? Because he obviously can't stay on Mars. Ja'an and his father are literally the last green Martians, and there are obviously more bad White Martians on there. They're going to be huge targets. They can't just leave Myron there, right? But then we also get this scene where Maggie actually confronts her father and tells a story of how when she was a little girl in the picture, because she gave the picture. You remember that picture he took out of his wallet and kissed it, put it on the wall? She brought it back to him saying, you know, back when I was a kid, I always wait by the side of the road waiting for Papa to come back for me, hoping that he'll love me for who I am. That broke my heart, because I have major dad issues. My dad was never around, and when I was a kid, I always kept thinking, you know, since my dad wasn't around, I kept thinking maybe I wasn't good enough. That's why he was never around. So hearing Maggie tell her father, you know, waiting for her father, hoping that he'll love her for the way she is and all that stuff, it kind of hit home a bit. Because it reminded me of my own strained relationship with my dad, and it's not due to homophobia or anything like that. It's just, my parents split up, my dad was just never around. So, it hit home, and I am crying. Oh my god, so bad. But anyway, she pretty much tells her father, you know what? I'm not gonna be that little girl anymore. I am a grown woman, and fine, you won't love me for who I am, and Mom, it's okay, because I have a whole bunch of other people that love me for who I am. They're my family now. I don't need you anymore. And at first I was like, kind of a little harsh, you know, the whole I don't need you anymore, but I kind of don't blame her for saying that, but it's like, good for her. If your parents can't love you for who you are, fine, let them be. Let them have that on their conscience, you know what I mean? Like, let them have that guilt in their conscience, because it's like, it's your child, and you refuse to love them for who they are. That's just, that's not happening with me. Anyway, she ends up returning home to Alex, and she's like, you know what? Alex, you're the only family I need, right? And then, the cool thing is, at the end, though, Kara and John bring Myron to Earth. So, Myron is going to be the second Green Martian on Earth. It's kind of like Kara. Kara is literally the second the second Kryptonian to be a refugee on Earth, the first one being her cousin, Superman. And then Ja'an was the first Green Martian to be a refugee on Earth, and now his father is. So it's kind of cute. I like it, and I like how he's so fascinated by Earth, even though, like, they ended up coming home to, like, a rundown part of Earth on, in the city, and it's just, he's like, I like it. And he's all looking at the greenery and everything. He's so fascinated by it. It's adorable. It really is adorable. I can't wait to see Myron's dynamic on Earth, you know, getting used to Earth custom and all that shit, and John teaching him and all that. It'll be cute. But, like I said, the performances with the actors who played Myron and John, that was a beautiful son and father relationship. I cried. And again, the actors who played Maggie and her father, respectively, my god. Especially the one who plays Maggie's father. Despite the fact that I hate Maggie's father, the actor who played him amazingly. My heart broke. That was just a beautiful scene. But anyway, this episode was beautiful. I love it very much. A lot of people will think like, oh, this is just a filler episode and all that stuff. It's all like emotional and bullshit. It's like, it touched on certain sensitive topics, and it did it beautifully. And it literally brought me to tears. You could be like, this girl, so sensitive and all that. No action, all that bullshit. But you know what? This hit home for a lot of people. Whether it was a father, whether it's a child, and this touched a lot of people's hearts because of the child and parent dynamic, you know? Whether you have the relationship like Myron and Jean, or even a relationship like Maggie and her father, it touches home. And it touches subjects like homophobia, and it touches subjects with Mexicanos. So it touched a lot of sensitive subjects without going a little overboard, which is what I loved. But anyway, this is one of my favorite episodes of Supergirl so far. It literally brought me to tears. But anyway, this is my reaction rant to Supergirl Season 3, Episode 3, titled Far From a Tree. Well, far from the tree, not a tree. But anyway, peace, brother. See you in the Flash!